Welcome to Tea and Tarot with me, your host, Yashna. Each week I'll share what I've learned as I dive deeper into the world of tarot. I've got my cards in front of me, my cup of tea, and I can't wait to share this journey with you. This is Tea and Tarot.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Tea and Tarot. We are going to be continuing through the major arcana this week, and the focus of this episode is strength. But before jumping into that content, I do just want to take a moment of reflection on the state of affairs of what's been going on around me. This podcast doesn't have a very large audience, honestly, so it's not necessarily like a message for all of you, but it's been interesting going on this journey because it's kind of been a little bit of vocal journaling every week, every couple weeks, whenever I record these episodes, when I edit it later, even just a couple weeks later, if I do it 2 weeks later, I'll think back and be like, wow, that was such a fun episode to record. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe that happened. The New Year's spread is one of my favorite ones because I filmed that in November with my friend, did a lot of the editing in December, and then after it released, I would listen to bits of it again, and I was like, wow, January's card, and this is why it all comes to mind, is my card for January was strength. And I'm filming this episode near the end of January. It's not quite February yet, but we're getting there. It's very, very slowly getting through February. And man, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but this has been a long year, and it's only been a few weeks of it. I'm going to get into this card. I'm going to talk all about strength, and I think it's a really good reminder of what you need to keep. It was the card I pulled for January, and it makes so much sense now. I think I've mentioned this briefly in some prior episodes, but I live in LA, so I got the glorious start of the year that was glorious is super sarcastic. It was not glorious in any way. But all the fires in LA, and then the inauguration and the presidency, and just all of the everything that has been happening in the last couple of weeks it's been a lot. There's a lot to process, and I don't think I've fully really processed it the way I want to, the way I need to. I'll get there. I'm working through it bit by bit. But it makes so much sense that strength was the card that I drew for January, because when I first pulled it, I was thinking oh, New Year's resolutions, duh. You need strength to get through your resolutions. Little did I know that no, January was going to be full of so many obstacles and so many hardships that make you question everything going on around you. And yeah, it's been a crazy start of the year so far. I am grateful to have this space to be doing this podcast. I think it is a strength that I carry with me. It is something that helps bring me inner calm. It helps me share a gift with others around me every time I do a reading for friends, as I do readings for others. I just did my first reading for a neighbor recently. We did not record it. I did not ask to. But that was really cool because it was just, a random neighbor who I talk to every now and then, but we had a real heart-to-heart chat as I did this reading for him, as we talked through what these cards mean, what it means in the context of what's going on around us, and how it can help bring optimism and joy and convey this message as we move forward in our lives. So that's a lot of rambling. Maybe I'll cut this out. Maybe I won't. I think it all ties really well into the message of strength, and is a little bit of January reflection, stepping into this year and boy, oh boy, Strength, were you the card that really resonated with me this month. The other crazy thing is I drew this in one of my Monday inspiration draws. I have sometimes picked cards intentionally based on what's going on around me and which card I feel drawn to that day. But this was like an actual draw. I shuffled the deck, I pulled a random card out, and it was Strength in the reverse Seers position. I'll talk about what that means. But I was like, wow, you really are my January message. So thank you, Strength. And it's a good reminder. So I just want to say, I think everyone deserves to be treated with kindness. I think everyone deserves to be treated with respect. And everyone should be allowed to feel safe in the space where they live and in the space where they want to grow. And at least here on this podcast, in the space that I am trying to create, that will always be the case. So much love to everyone out there. I hope you are persevering through 2025, and we will get through this together. And as we get through it together, let's talk podcast stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown of the Tortured Poets department as tarot cards last week. This is another really fun thing I'm doing this year, and something that is also bringing me a lot of joy, bringing me a lot of fun moments as I take songs and I tie them to these cards and I figure out where the meanings are, where the links are. I did Short and Sweet first. Tortured Poets department was the next big one I did. I don't have an album picked out just yet for the next one, but I'm working on it. I have a couple ideas. If anyone has any suggestions or any albums they'd really love me to break down, let me know. And I will definitely add it to my list and try to get to it ASAP. But yeah, in the meantime, we're going to keep breaking down the major Arcana cards. And yeah, let's talk about Strength. Enough with this whole rambling thing. Let's talk about Strength. So, Strength. How many times can I say the word strength? Oh, also before we start, I'm kind of cheating a little bit. Maybe not cheating. This is still tea, but I don't have a cup of hot tea today. I felt like having an iced beverage, and I have this in my fridge. It's from Trader Joe's, but it is a sparkling black tea with peach juice beverage. Let's do a little bit of ASMR here. I hope that came out good. I don't know how good that sounds on the mic, but this is a new tea. I haven't tried it before, but it looked really good. So this is what I'm going to be sipping on today. It is good. It is very carbonated, and I'm not the biggest carbonated drinks person. Maybe on me that I bought a sparkling drink, but maybe as it sits open, it'll be a little less carbonated as we talk, and it'll be more tea-y. Cool. So, in older decks, Strength used to be the 11th major Arcana card, but it was moved to the 8th position in the Rider-Waite deck in order to better align it with its astrological sign, which is Leo. For many reasons, but primarily because the lion is a huge symbol in this card. The lion has always served as a symbol of strength and power, linking back to ancient myths of lion killers and those who had befriended them in the past to demonstrate their inner strength. A common example of this is the tale of a Beauty and the Beast. While Disney's depiction doesn't show the beast as a lion, a lot of early tales and the general theme of the story closely match the imagery in this card and kind of show this duality and partnership between man and beast. That is what is trying to be conveyed. There's an old story about Androcles, a fugitive slave in Rome. While on the run, he encountered a lion and helped heal his paw of an injury. Later on, Androcles, is recaptured and sentenced to death by a public mauling of a lion. But in the Colosseum, the lion he encounters is the same one he helped heal, so the lion refuses to kill him and instead shows him that they are friends. As a result of the show of strength, the Roman emperor lets him go free, and the lion and man's relationship are celebrated. The lion and man's relationship are celebrated by the people. In another story, strength is shown not by befriending a lion, but by slaying them. There's two different Greek stories in one myth The huntress Cyrene, also known as Girl Lion Killer, had slain many lions to protect her father's cattle. Her feats caught the attention of the Greek god Apollo, who fell in love with her for her courage and bravery. In another Greek tale, Hercules was forced to do 12 acts of labor as punishment, and his first act was to slay the lion of Nemea and bring its skin back to King Eurystheus. This was seen as a great symbol of strength, and this tale is depicted in the Visconti Sforza deck. In one of the other 15th century decks, the imagery for strength was slightly different. In it, a woman is holding a broken pillar, and it's unclear if she broke the pillar or is helping hold it together instead. This imagery likely relates back to the tale of Samson's destruction of the temple, or the Philistines, or the legend of the Pillar of Hercules, which guarded the entry to the mysterious lost city of Atlantis. Either way, the legends tie back to this card shows the woman is a pillar of strength, helping defend boundaries and help hold this pillar in place. Many other decks at the time closely followed the imagery of a woman subduing a lion as a symbol of strength instead of a woman holding this pillar. In the Tarocchi del Mantegna deck and the Tarot de Marseille decks, those two images were kind of combined to show a woman holding a pillar and a lion subdued by her feet. The imagery for this card hasn't changed much since then, and in fact the Rider-Waite and the Light Seers deck both portray strength with the imagery of a woman and a lion intermingled, though in slightly different ways. So looking at the Rider-Waite deck, in this card, a woman stands over a lion holding his jaw half open. She stays in control, holding her position calmly even though there must be some fear and nervousness that passes through her. But by holding strong, she is able to maintain this hold with the fierce beast before her. The lion is a symbol of power, courage, majesty, and leadership. In alchemy, it can also represent base matters that can be turned to gold, in line with the theme of enlightenment. The infinity symbol above her head represents balance, patience, and consistency. The garland of roses around her is for civility, celebration, and protection. The white robe she wears is for purity, and the yellow background, as with many other cards, represents clear sight and consciousness. Looking at the Light Seers deck, a lot of the themes are really similar. Still shows a woman and a lion, but it is portrayed in a slightly different way. So to start, let me read the strength story that is shared in the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. And this is the story the artist has around why strength is depicted the way she is. Strength's nature is so calm and gentle that even the baby lamb feels safe in her presence. She stands quietly, serene and relaxed, and allows this energy to guide her every move. Beneath her soft and youthful exterior lies the strength and the courage of a lion. In times of peril, she always has access to the steady wisdom that resides within, for she has merged with the spirit of her animal guide, and he leads her to an inner refuge of deep peace. The kingly beast has taken up residence within her heart, where she has been slowly learning how to embody his courage and wisdom. Her quiet, humble bravery and her honest motivations have impressed him, so he gives her an understanding of fierce power, and she promises to embody it fully. Whenever she is faced with danger or uncertainty, his empowering sovereignty will allow her to exude grace and confidence, and to bravely stand against the monsters of the world. Roaring warmly through her kind smile, he fills their heart with a consistent, peaceful gratitude, and together with their shared compassion, they exert gentle influence and control over their domain. In this card, there is also an infinity symbol, this time as a tattoo on the woman's arm, which is also a representation of eternal strength and endurance. The lion, again, is a symbol of strength, but is balanced with the woman, showing her confidence but also her willingness to be vulnerable. There's a Leo constellation in the background as a nod to the card's astrological sign and the nod back to the lion. The heart necklace she wears shows compassion, empathy, love, and inner strength. The baby lamb by her side represents purity, innocence, inner peace, calm, gentleness, and spiritual faith. The green in the background ties to the heart chakra. The yellow is for the solar plexus chakra, i.e. willpower, and the white is for purity. The message from the Rider-Waite deck is, with strength, you can discover your higher purpose. From the Light Seer deck, the message is, in the meadow of strength and innocence, the fierce serenity of the lion and the lamb will teach us the profound essence of peace. The more optimistic light message that also comes with this card is, I deliberately shine my compassion and strength, and I use them for good. In a reading, this card's meaning shouldn't be too surprising. In the Light Seer position, it's all about courage, calmness, quiet, and inner strength, influence, purity, fierce serenity, compassion. It can be about graceful leadership and gifted healers. And in some readings, it can lean more towards meanings around lust and animal instinct. In the reverse Shadow Seer, it's about being blocked by fear, self-doubt, being stuck in a flight or fight response, needing to exercise self-control, having self-destructive impulses, or being guided by the lizard part of your brain. Which is kind of a funny phrase, but it's literally from the Light Seers guidebook. In a love reading, it may focus more on how impulsively you act in this relationship and the need to take it back a step and steer it with more compassion and empathy. It could also imply needing to find the strength to take a step forward in it and not being too scared of what's to come. Around career, it's really about being courageous to ask for what you want and taking that step to show that you deserve the progress and promotion that you are seeking. The reverse meaning again reminds you not to act too impulsively and make sure you're being rational in your approach. This is a strong card for a health reading and is a good reminder to make sure that you feel healthy inside. It can allude more to your mental well-being and making sure that your inner strength is strong. And then for a spirituality reading, this card is representative of spiritual matters. It could mean taking time to remember the strength you find in your faith and what within it guides you forward. Who is your spirit animal that continues to guide you and helps add strength to your daily life? And it also brings the reminder to not blindly follow the teachings around you, but rather evaluate what is really grounding you and what do you take from your faith and spirituality. That is all the content that I had around strength. I'm going to take a short break, and when I'm back, we're going to be doing the inner strength, outer calm spread that is in the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. I'm pretty excited to do this one. This spread is supposed to be about healing with strength kind of as a focus, but how do you heal and what are those steps in that journey? So stay tuned, and I will be right back for that reading. Hello and welcome back. As I said before, I am doing the strength reading from the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. That is this spread over here. That is about inner strength and outer calm. So I will be drawing 3 cards for the spread. The first one is my inner guide, a message from my guide about where I can find my inner fortitude. The second card is my inner peace. How can I cultivate and maintain inner peace when the outer world feels chaotic? Oh my God, that is so relatable. For many things that I just said, wow, does that question hit hard right now? And then 3 is my outer courage, how the outside world views my influence, my power, and boldness. How can I foster bravery? Wow, that hits hard. Let me pull out the strength card from this deck. It is at the top right now because I just did this. I just had it out for recording the content of this episode. And now I'm going to shuffle my deck. Reset the energy in it. I am thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I do this every time. One day I'm going to learn how to shuffle this without dropping cards. Okay, focusing again. My inner guide, my inner peace, my outer courage. How do I find my inner strength and my outer calm? Okay. For this one, I'm just going to split the deck 3 ways. And yeah, let's do it that way. So here is my first split, a second split, and a third split. So actually this does not count. This is my first, second goes on this side, and then third will go in the middle. So if I flip these over, let's do it this way. So my first card that I drew is the 3 of Cups. Oh, that is a really sweet message because the 3 of Cups is very much about community and friends. And I mean, like, kind of like the imagery looks, it's who is your sisterhood? Who is the community you surround yourself with? And this card is my inner guide. So where can I find my inner fortitude? And that feels good. That comes from my community, from the people around me. The second card, my inner peace, is the King of Cups. I am not as familiar with this card, so I'll have to look that one up. But how can I cultivate and maintain inner peace when the outer world feels chaotic? Being tied to a card around emotion and intuition feels a little spot on. And then the last card is my outer courage. This is the 4 of Swords, which is really about recuperating and taking space for yourself. So how can I foster bravery? How does the outer world view my influence, my power, and boldness? It is very interesting to me that this card is about, or the card that I pulled for it is something that's usually about like inner recuperation and taking time to yourself. So, okay, I'm going to flip to see what the meaning of these cards are in a little more detail, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I flipped through, and this is making a lot more sense to me. So, in looking at these cards in order, my inner guide, my message about where I can find my inner fortitude really is about leaning on the people around me. This card is about friendships, sisterhood, like I was saying before. I will find so much inner fortitude and so much inner strength by leaning on my friends around me, leaning on my family, leaning on the people who I consider to be part of my inner circle. And I would say that's really true. A lot of what's helped get me past through these last couple of weeks has been venting hard with my friends, talking through everything going on and just trying to process it together. So this one really rings true and is a good reminder to not isolate myself and to really lean on them for that help and that inner guidance. The second card is, how can I cultivate and maintain inner peace when the outer world feels chaotic? Where is my inner peace? And this card is all about emotional intelligence. It's about being a wise leader, being kind, being compassionate, being gentle with those around you, and really understanding how things feel around you, how the people around you feel. And I think maybe it like kind of goes hand in hand with the Four of Swords. Like, I almost think these cards are a little bit flipped in their meanings, but still go hand in hand of when everything feels chaotic, I need to tap into how am I feeling? How am I doing? How are my friends doing? How are they feeling? How can I be wise? How can I stay educated? How can I make sure that I'm still leading with emotional intelligence, especially making sure that I'm checking in on those around me? And I think that will be the path to really make sure that I'm taking care of myself. But I think, honestly, I think these cards are kind of flipped because the Four of Swords is all about self-love, self-care, recuperation. It's a card about like you've gone through something painful or you've been hurt and you're taking this time to really heal, making sure you're not burnt out anymore. And I think it can go either way. Like, I think this one feels more inner peace, but in terms of how can I foster bravery and what do I help bring to others, I think making sure I'm helping the people around me also take a moment for self-care, self-love, that we are taking moments of joy this year and every week as we push forward will be really important. Like, that is very big and very important to do. So yeah, I think that's the full spread. I think all these cards resonate pretty well. I'd say maybe these two should have been switched and it would have made a little more sense, but I think it also just kind of fits where it is right now. Like, actually thinking about it more, like with inner peace, emotional intelligence is also, I think it's also a strength to have when you're processing and trying to figure out what's going on around you, is you need to tap into your own emotions and actually process them instead of just ignoring them. So I think that does lean towards inner peace a lot as well. So yeah, that's my strength spread. That is my breakdown on strength as a card. A very strong card that has followed me through January. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode, and join me next week for another breakdown on the next major Arcana card. See you then. Thank you for listening to Tea and Tarot with Yashna. This episode was produced, hosted, and edited by me, Yashna Bensel, and brought to you by Tea Time Podcasts. The tarot reading was done using the Light Seers deck by Chris Ann, and all card visuals were from the Light Seers deck and the Rider Waite Smith tarot deck. Research was done using Wikipedia, The Ultimate Guide to Tarot by Liz Dean, Tarot for Light Seers by Chris Ann, and many, many Google searches. Music was made using SoundRaw. Join me next week for another episode of Tea and Tarot.